Alrighty, let's go ahead and talk about our favorite person ever. Steven Anderson. This is a man who I've covered extensively on this channel, and I have a lot of personal grievances with, because he's a very, very hateful and bad guy. Anyway, fan art. This piece of fan art comes to us from Heaven Nightingale. Said, seeing some of Suris's vids with his VTuber model in a Sonic onesie got me thinking about how the models and he would look as part of the Mobian world. I'm working on his own one at the moment, thinking of making him canine since he's a dog dad. Oh, that is adorable. Let me see if I can't. Oh, wait, yeah, no, I can get this a little smaller. There we go. There we go. That is adorable. I also like how there's Yu-Gi-Oh cards being held by the slime version and regular Magic cards being held by the other one. Regular cards. They're Magic the Gathering cards. It says something about my psychology that I consider those the regular cards. Anyway, as always, thank you all for your fan art submissions. If you want your fan art to be shown in a future video, the best way to do so is to drop it in the fan art section of the Discord. With that said, let's go ahead and get into this thing. This thing right here. Hate preacher defends the unhinged colleague, his unhinged colleague, alleged wife beating. Steven Anderson's okay with beating your fucking wife. Ha ha. A notorious anti-LGBTQ independent fundamental Baptist hate pastor has been caught on tape defending the domestic violence of a fellow hate-mongering preacher in a recently posted covert recording. In the video, recording of a phone conversation between John Anderson, the estranged son of Pastor Steven Anderson of Faithful Word Baptist Church in Tempe, Arizona, and a Pastor Jonathan Shelley, who is a fellow anti-LGBTQ IFB leader. I don't like that they keep saying IFB. That's inaccurate. They're not IFB, they're NIFB. The new Independent Fundamental Baptist people are separate from the IFB, not in most of their ideology, but in their leader. Said, I heard about this on Dead Domain's channel. Yeah, Dead Domain does really fucking good work. Shout out to Dead Domain. Anyways, Shelley bends over backwards to excuse John Anderson's accusations that his father beat his mother with an electrical cord countless times. What? Slapped her hard across the face repeatedly and left her bloodied on numerous occasions. Holy, what? I'm sorry, what? I mean, I'm not surprised that Steven Anderson allegedly beats the ever-loving crap shit out of his wife. I'm not surprised that that happens, allegedly. That doesn't register in my brain as something that I didn't expect to find out. But, man, there is something about that is worth considering quite heinous. This is a person who is a church leader. This isn't a random Joe Schmo. It's bad no matter who is beating their wives. But this is a person who has a fuck ton of people in his congregation right now who hang on his every word. And when he is sitting there telling people that it's okay to beat the snot out of your wife, that is so fucked up. And consider this. The NIFB are quiverfullers. That means they believe in two things. Lots and lots of breeding, and divorce is immoral. So, if his wife has drank the Kool-Aid on that particular issue, that means that she believes that leaving her husband is a moral sin, is something that God would frown upon. That means that she is effectively psychologically trapped here, and every child that she bears with him increases her connection to him. Not in some weird psychological, dude, look here, the alpha male says that every time you come inside a woman, a bit of your DNA stays inside her. That means that you do not want a loose woman who has had many men's DNA inside her. It stays there forever. No, not in that stupid shit sense. In an actual, like, quantifiable legal sense, where She has kids with shared custody. If she were to leave, there would be shared custody of some variety between her and her abuser. Literally. Alleged abuser. Said divorce, yeah. A piece of paper that says that you can separate from your husband, that's a sin. But if you take the cord and you beat the ever-loving tar out of her, that's just God's free will, baby. In the call, John Anderson notes the hypocrisy and deceit his father has displayed, publicly denying accusations by him and his sibling, admitted Nazi Isaac Anderson that Steven Anderson punched his wife with a closed fist. What? He notes the deceit his father displayed, publicly denying accusations by him and his sibling. Okay, so even his sibling who's a Nazi is just like, yeah, he beat my mom. Jesus Christ. He said, my dad's been meeting with his church members and said, I have never hit my wife. I've never physically laid hands on her, which is something that is blatantly not true. Because I saw him hit her on a regular basis for years. That's something my other siblings can attest to. You can ask any of them. It's important to kind of identify what we are talking about, Shelley advises him. I just want to know from your perspective. You're saying that you witnessed your dad with a closed fist punch your mom, and you saw that. And John responds, no, I never said that. He slapped her. He says, after detailing the electrical cord beatings and other violent abuse that both he, his siblings, and his mother endured. He says, I have spoken with your dad about some intimate details. Frankly speaking, he has told me that he never closed fist hit your mom. Right. What is this closed fist shit, though? Okay. Let me ask you something. I'm going to turn on the pad. Okay? My voice should be a little bit lower, and we are going to go to Facecam for just a bit. Right here. You, me, we're going to have a quick chat. We are even going to turn on the bisexual lighting for just a minute. Just long enough, right? Just long enough to maybe get the point across. Let's turn that off there. There we go. We are now in true streamer realms, okay? We even have the lighting correct here. So what is the difference between my knuckles being closed like this and me going versus my hands being open like this and me going? There is no difference. There is no difference between these two things. One may hurt more than the other, one may have more capacity for damage than the other, but from a psychological perspective, neither of these are different. These are the same thing. Once I have engaged in physical violence with a person, once I have harmed them, that is all that matters. That is it. If my hands connect to a person, and it was not in self-defense, or retaliation from them putting their hands on me, which is, I guess, also just self-defense. Once I've done that, once I've crossed that threshold, it doesn't matter how I fucking did it. Absolutely not. These are the types... Okay, so I had a... Years ago, I had a partner. It was a very weird situation where I wasn't allowed to call her my girlfriend because of the weird idiosyncrasies in that polyamorous relationship. Regardless, I had a partner who had an abusive boyfriend. Now, I did not know the boyfriend was abusive at the time. We met at a swingers party, and we all ended up hitting it off, and then a relationship blossomed from there. Now, this person who had the abusive boyfriend, after a while, basically revealed to me that, hey, my boyfriend puts his hands on me. And in that situation, it was not slapping, it was not closed fist punching, it was shaking. Like, violently shaking. which was what he did. And if she watches this video and has to correct me on the specific details about this, this was almost 10 years ago, so I might have gotten some details wrong. But again, the situation was that he would shake her violently. In my mind, at that time, there was no difference between a closed fist punch, a slap, and violently shaking someone. These were all the same thing. Once you have put your hands on someone in a way that they haven't consented to, then you've crossed the line. So eventually I ended up having a sit-down talk with him. I didn't know how to go about it. It was one of my first times doing one of these confrontations, one of these interventions. So that ended up being me inviting him to play video games before I went to work. We played video games for all of 10 minutes, and then I broached the subject of his abuse, and then I turned on my phone's record button and proceeded to grill him about all of the shit that I had found out that he had done. And yeah, those two are no longer together anymore. And this was, like I said, a very long time ago. But my position on this has not changed in any amount of time. My position on this has been, once you lay your hands on someone in a way that they do not consent to, and you have engaged in any kind of action past that point, after they've told you to lay off, then that is bad. That feels like that should be an easy thing to understand, but I guess for old Stevie boy, the power chords are just a little too enticing, right? And of course, Jonathan Shelley is just sitting here defending this shit. Shelley used the distinction to justify Steven Anderson's behavior as consensual discipline of a wife by her husband. That distinction, according to Shelley, justifies Steven Anderson's public denials of his children's allegations and the alternate abuse itself. Shelley says, "Here's the thing, John. I'm not going to disqualify a pastor over domestic abuse because the Bible is silent on that. I asked him if he used physical discipline on your mom, and he told me that whatever he had done between him and your mom was consensual, and that it was behind closed doors, you know, and that whatever his kids were aware of was an exaggeration of what happened." Shelley added that wife beating in America, that was legal for hundreds of years and exercised by many people regularly. John Anderson countered, "Being gay is legal in America right now, and you don't think that's okay?" In his response to the audio recording, Steven Anderson denied the allegations. We'll take a look at that here in just a second. All right, now let's go ahead and take a look at what else is going on here. See, Christian domestic discipline in a covertly recorded discussion with NIFB pastor Jonathan Shelley. Steven Anderson's son is gaslit over whether or not whipping your wife with an electrical cord or slapping her in the face counts as being hit. Steven Anderson has responded to this video saying, "Just because I'm a pastor, it doesn't mean that people have the right to know everything that's going on between me and my wife behind the closed doors of our bedroom." Okay, let's go ahead and take a look here. "It's inappropriate to discuss those things publicly, and I'm not going to, okay? I've been a great husband and a great father, so I don't owe an explanation to anyone about anything. And I'm not going to sit here and embarrass my wife or myself or embarrass you, the viewer. If you're a normal person, by explaining to you the ins and outs of everything that goes on in my bedroom. But I can promise you that it is nothing like what he is characterizing it as." Okay, so before we continue, I do have to note there is a chance, a very small chance, very, very tiny, that Steven Anderson engaged in BDSM in the background, and that was a thing that he's talking about. That is a tiny, tiny chance. I don't think that's what happened, though. Knowing the type of person that Steven Anderson is, this sounds like a person who convinced his wife that this was an A-OK thing to do, that it was okay to hit in a non-BDSM fashion his wife, and that she said that was okay. Now, I say this because in my experience, I have watched my own mother completely and totally give apologetics on the behalf of an abusive stepfather of mine. And a lot of these abuses that were done to me were contextualized through the lens of him being the man of the household. So I'd love to give the benefit of the doubt here, but knowing who Steven Anderson is and knowing that he has the same style of belief as that stepfather that I had did, then no, I'm sorry, but this does not seem like the type of person that I should be giving that benefit of the doubt to. Not in any way, shape, or form. Not after my own personal history. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Both Shelley and Steven Anderson do preach that homosexuality is a perversion punishable by death. In 2021, Shelley asked his congregants, "Are you sad when F-slurs die?" No, I think it's great. I hope they all die. I would love it if every F-slur would die right now. I don't give the benefit of the doubt to people like this. I don't. In fact, I'm fairly certain I covered that video of Shelley's specifically 3 years ago. I'm very, very convinced that I actually did cover this at one point. In another sermon, Shelley observed that if someone walks into a homo bar and shoots them all, shoots up a bunch of homos and kill them, you know how many tears I shed for that? 0. He said he doesn't care how many of them die because they worship the devil. No, they don't. There's actually plenty of gay people who are Christian as well. Steven Anderson has said that he would rather eat his own vomit than be gay in an unhinged sermon. Like his enabler Shelley, violent hatred of gay people is a recurring theme in his theology and church leadership. Quoted one Christian commentator in reply to the audio recording post, "Likewise, ye husbands, dwell with them according to knowledge, giving honor unto the wife, that your prayers may not be hindered." It sounds like Steven Anderson has an uncertain eternity. Jesus farking Christ. Every single part of that was horrifying. I've already dealt with the NIFB plenty of times, whether it be talking about Steven Anderson. I challenged him to a debate years ago, but that was not something that I ever got a response on. But anyway, I've dealt with the NIFB for years. I've covered the NIFB for years, and I will never be able to cover it in as much detail, in as accurate a fashion as Dead Domain did when they went directly into an NIFB church, infiltrated it, and got all kinds of background info on that church, and talked to Steven Anderson's kids themselves about the stuff that they have witnessed from the NIFB and from its leadership. The NIFB, for those who don't know, the New Independent Fundamental Baptist Church, are a cult that spans the globe. They try to operate as if they are just basic-ass fundamental Southern Christians, when in reality they are an incredibly violent group of individuals. A very, very, very violent group. These are people whose pastors have said, among other things, it would be okay for the Taliban to take over the United States so long as they kill all the gay people, that the United States government should be allowed to kill all the gay people, that beating your wife is an okay thing to do because the Bible is silent on it. Oh, wait! We covered that one. The NIFB are monstrous fucking people. Absolutely monstrous. And they have an entire media infrastructure where they make movies and all kinds of shit to reinforce their beliefs over and over again to their congregation. Please note, people in the congregation from the NIFB want you dead. They do. These are not normal people. These are people who have been brainwashed by very, very influential powers. Steven Anderson, Jonathan Shelley, and Tommy McMurtry, among others. These are people who I cannot have sympathy towards after being duped into this kind of hateful rhetoric. I hope that people who are stuck in the mentality of the NIFB eventually break out of it. But holy shit, these people scare me. Absolutely terrify me. This is an organization that did the Make America Straight Again campaign and did it in celebration of the Pulse nightclub shootings. These are people that actively celebrate mass murders, okay? These are not normal, happy people. These are people that are, in every way, shape, and form that I possibly can muster, quite evil. And yes, Tommy McMurtry may or may not be sexually attracted to pumpkins. We are moving into Halloween, but Pumpkingate died a long time ago. All fun aside, this shit is saddening. And finding out that Steven Anderson may have beat his wife doesn't surprise me in one bit. As always, everybody, insert end of video tagline here. Hey, just wanted to give a quick thank you to all of my wonderful patrons who help keep me afloat and help keep this channel going. YouTube and Twitch are wonderful platforms, but at the end of the day, stability is not one of their strong suits. If you want to support my channel, then obviously Patreon is one of the best ways of doing that. Link is in the description. But I do want to personally thank everybody who has contributed to the channel. Those people would be Red Joker, Purple Poundini, Jemshin, Briskreek, Jupe the Malignant, Michael, Ravalern, Mabbity Babbity, Astral Frontier, Autumn and Angel, Nixie Chan, Agamotto, Victorian Alchemist, I'm not saying the last part of that, and you know that, Arcton Arclacier, Kiratorian, Dren Hadamata, Jordan M, John L, Lord Bleck, Smiling Game Master, and Fireshard. And everyone else who supports my channel and lets me do what I do full time. This is a dream job of mine that I never believed that I would be able to take full time, and with your help, I've been able to do it. So thank you so very much for that. Thank you for watching the video. I hope you all enjoy, and I hope you all are having a wonderful time. I will see you all in the next one, hopefully.